Well, hello, everyone. I'm Mayor Scott Hill, Mayor of the City of McMinnville, Oregon, and I welcome you to the State of the City address today and the 5th Annual Mayor's Award presentation. You remember last year we came to you from the senior city or center. I had the nice fire behind me and we had nobody in the audience. This year we're coming to you virtually again, but we are in downtown McMinnville at the bindery with about 25 people here masked up. And again, it is just it's such a pleasure to be able to welcome you. You know, this couldn't happen without the help and direction of staff. And I thank staff for all that they've done, the heavy lifting. I just have to come and, you know, say a couple of words. But with that, I'd like to recognize a number of individuals. I'd like to recognize the city councilors. I'd like to recognize other governmental individuals representing other cities, the county, and the state. I'd like to let you know that on Friday afternoon, I received a call from Congresswoman Bonamici, and she can't be with us, but she shared how much she enjoys the good things that we're doing here in McMindo. She enjoys being able to give us help, especially during the federal assistance program of ARPA. And Al's on the Zoom call representing her office. So again, I just wanted to let that be known. Our city manager, Jeff Towery, is with us. We've got our department heads, and we have some of them with us here tonight and others out on the Zoom call. We've got employees, we've got staff. But I'll tell you one thing that I'm very excited about. We've got our volunteers. Do you know in McMindville we have about 1,100 volunteers? And so I'm going to do something that seems a little crazy, but I want every volunteer from baseball coaches, soccer coaches, city council, mayor, committee members to raise your hand. We recognize everyone that's on committees and thank you so very much for your work. Without your work, it would be so much more difficult for the city council to be effective. And then lastly, but not least, we welcome and we thank the citizens of McMinnville. That's why we're here. That's why we have passion for this city, is to help make it and keep it livable and a place that you feel safe and secure and you can live out your dreams with your families. Well, we're going to do a few things maybe a little differently tonight. We're going to first go over our city accomplishments for 2021. And I'm going to do it by department. Many times I just lump it all together, but there have been some significant things that have happened in 2021 in each department, given the COVID and the uniqueness of the time that we've been a part of. So let me start with the city council. The city council, we've done team development training with understandings around our core strengths, working agreements, so that we could unify ourselves to be the very best as a group that we can be. We also, each committee that we have in the city is represented by a member of our city council. But even beyond that, we have individuals that serve regionally and statewide, and we recognize those extra efforts because we have to travel, we have to do things outside of our comfort zone, but we represent the city of McMinnville to our partners throughout the state. And then lastly, this year we've started something that Council President Drabkun and I call the council leadership. And we meet together often and we really put our heads together to be able to drive the effectiveness of the council. Well, you've already heard from me talking about volunteerism, but let me talk a little bit about some of our accomplishments this year. You know, this year, I think we had more applicants for the openings on our committees than we've ever seen before. And I'll tell you, we, in many instances, had 8, 9, 10 opportunities to pick people for 2 positions. I found out, as I've known for many years, we have so much expertise and experience. And I'll tell you, if you've if you've applied for an opportunity to serve on a committee and you weren't chosen, we tell you this all the time, try again, because your time will come. Our budget committee this year has really taken an enhanced role, and we've seen them in the budget development, including core services, revenue development decisions. And again, we're so appreciative of having those extra eyes on the process. And then something that's dearing to my heart is this year we were able to create the DEI committee. And for those that don't know what DEI is, that's diversity, equity, and inclusion. I'd like to put an L on the end of that too, because we're training leadership to these individuals that we want to be able to help us in the future. Well, our finance department. And just like every year, they completed their 2020-2021 financial statements. And last Tuesday night, our auditors came in. And guess what? Like always before, we got a clean opinion. Okay, that's really important. But our auditors even said how impressed they are with our staff and the things that we're doing. We're going for the certification that's up and above with the Accounting Standards Board. And even though with all of the COVID stuff and the federal requirements that change, they're not able to give that designation, but everything looks like we'll get that American or the Accounting Standards certification like we've done in years past. The next thing that we've done is we've spent tremendous amounts of time and energy on ARPA, or the American Rescue Act, and the accounting and the finance group has been working, council's given direction, and now we're looking at getting those valuable investments back into our community and within the city organization. And then I'd overlook, if I didn't say just the day-to-day accounting functions of the city. We have tremendous opportunities to do the things that we need to do. Accounts payable, accounts receivable, payroll, and the preparation of the budget, which takes almost a whole year to do. I would have one word for the finance department, and that is they are dependable. Next would be the municipal court. And our municipal court carried out a remote court proceedings, always successfully pivoting as the environment changed and new challenges were presented to us. They also enacted a diversity, equity, and inclusion plan in this very critical part that's very legal at the courts. And then we managed with fewer staff members and transitions with grace and with an unshakable commitment to delivering fair and impartial justice for our community. The word that I would have for municipal court is challenge slayers. They really do a great job. Next is our fire department. This year, the operation crews set new records for emergency responses for the year, even with staffing shortages, working through COVID. There's been a period of time where over almost half of our staff was not able to work because of COVID and injuries. But this year in 2021, they responded to 9,136 calls that broke the record that was set in 2017 of 8,038. And they did that with the passion that you would expect out of a fire department. We completed the fire district consolidation implementation plan. We went over the financing model, and so we're working through that, and we'll talk about that in just a few more minutes. They continue providing a high level of emergency services to the community despite the challenges that were created by COVID to the department. The word that I would use for our fire department is steadfast. Well, we have public works, and there's a number of sub-departments within our public works. We have a new public works director. Anne, welcome. It's good to have you on board. Operationally, we are very proud of how the operations team came together to keep the community safe and protected our assets in the February ice storm. That work happened not only during the several days that were a part of the storm, but in the weeks and the months following the event. The work happened throughout the right-of-way and our public parks. The crew performed through this long process in the face of staffing challenges related to furloughs and COVID, and funding challenges and other weather challenges that were before us. Through all of this, the crews kept the mission of public service in the forefront and rose to those challenges on a daily basis. Next, within public works, is engineering. And we were able to navigate staff changes, shortages, and still met our milestones and kept a respectable level of service. In the last year, we completed 105 right-of-way permits, 9 construction permit agreements, 2 subdivisions totaling over 60 lots, 2,200 location requests, the completion of the old Sheridan Road, the Oregon State Police trash enclosure and cement work, the 2021 slurry seal. Out at the airport, we worked on the apron rehabilitation project, and we continued construction on the Northeast High School sanitary sewer rehabilitation project. A lot of things, including just keeping up with the roads. Wastewater. With all of the COVID issues and weather events that we've had, we still managed to keep our systems up and running through all of it. We did have one major accomplishment, and that was the installation of 2 generators. We have one of those at the water reclamation facility and the other at the raw sewage pump station. These generators can supply 1,000 kilowatt hours of power and are able to power the entire plant and pump station. This is the very first time that we've had a redundant power supply at these locations. Again, it goes to our emergency management and the things that, from a council perspective, that we're looking at, and we were excited to be able to provide that. Public works, the one word would be resilient. Well, the police department. As many of you know, in 2021, the creation of the crime response unit was created and rolled out. McPD had great success with a specific team working on community livability issues, which impacts our city and our citizens. The McPD began the process of field testing body cameras to be worn in conjunction with their uniform and their equipment. And this is all in participation of receiving grant funding to purchase them. This has been a major commitment of staff in time and effort to find the suitable solution to adding the body worn cams to our technology systems. And so we have to turn to IT and thank them also in that endeavor. And lastly, during 2021, McPD staff continued to show up to their jobs every day and made a concentrated effort to have a meaningful contact with our citizens in the most trying of times, COVID. The word that we would say about our police department is they're dedicated. Well, let's turn to 2 areas that we just have fun with. The first one is the library. And the library was the winner of the McMinnville Downtown Association COVID Pivot Award this year. The library went without library fines, and the library and the park and recreation staff partnered to bring what was called summer fun, activities that were brought to the community, and our kids came out and they loved it. We all know, because we've done this now for a second year, but we continued to deliver books to those that needed that service. And we provided warming and cooling support to the citizens that needed that service also. The word, and we had to come up with 2 words, but the library is creatively resilient. Parks and Rec. Boy, did they have, the last 2 years have been tough because of COVID and the inability to provide all the types of things that our community and our youth want. But Summer Fun this year was a huge success. And if you know families that had kids and participated, they thought that was the greatest thing. This last year and a half, we've been involved in something called MacPack. And I like to say that that's looking at our recreation complex, our library and senior city. And this was one of the largest committees we've had. And it was really a task force. And they completed their findings and reported to us, I think it was a month ago at City Council. And they've given us recommendations and they've given us a direction that as a council that we're going to need to take a look at and be a part of. Okay, if you're like me, yesterday or the day before, you received the recreational guide at home. And this isn't the first time, but you turn it around and it's Spanish, and this way it's English. So dual language in that, and we're very proud of that. Okay, the word, it's hyphenated. It is funnovators, okay? And that's what Susan and her group are all about. Next, we have the planning department. Well, we've been working long and hard, but the submittal of a successful UGB amendment happened right at the end of the year. But what that's had us do in the planning department is the adoption of the McMinnville Growth Management and Urbanization Plan. We've also been very involved in the adoption of the Yamhill County Transit plan and the adoption of the 99W active transit plan. A lot of things happening in conjunction with ODOT, a lot of things happening behind the scenes as we're looking at master plans and we're looking at code and enhancements to bring us in line with what would happen, what the state needs, the direction we receive from the state. The other department that's found within this group is building. And we have in-house skill sets to manage the building code review, inspection of complex projects such as the First Federal Bank building and the Organic Valley redevelopment. And we're in, First Federal's done, Organic Valley's right in the middle of that. Every day I go by and I see another layer of building that's going on there. But all of this was accomplished with 100% of service delivery during COVID. Another part of this group is code enforcement. And we maintained over 90% in code enforcement in voluntary compliance. That's a great number. The development of the neighborhood revitalization program, such as the fall hall, and we had the development of the rental house inspection program. The one word with this group is heart. Information services. We continue to support and expand remote work and mobile meeting tools, including wiring up several city conference rooms with improved hybrid meeting, visual and audio capacity for the people in person, remote through Zoom and team meetings. We help drive technology improvements across the city, including setting up an online payment for municipal courts, expanding ambulance charting integration with other county fire agencies, and assisting with the MAC-PD body cam trials. And lastly, infrastructure improvements, including replacing the switching at our main MAC-PD data center with zero downtime, allowing for 10 gigabytes of connection between all city buildings, and upgrading security at several key city systems. Again, the word that we could use for this group is dependable. And I'd add one more, accessible too. I think those two are so important. Well, human resources. We navigated the change, leave laws, and the COVID-19 policies. That's no small task. We started the DEI committee, and they've been instrumental. Kylie has been so instrumental in that, along with Council President Drabkin. We had 10 full-time hires, plus numerous promotions and part-time, seasonal, and temporary hires. And something that we've needed for a long time is communications. We've added a communications and engagement professional to our administrative team, which will help the city in our goals of enhancing engagement, transparency, and trust with the community's members. With hand in hand, we worked with Visit McMinnville on the vision, the creation and the adoption of a new look or a brand for the city. And our partners are using that too. That was great. And then lastly, we created a community e-blast that goes out to over 1,600 residents each week to help keep them informed and up to date what we're doing. I had an opportunity to look at that this afternoon, and it talked about this meeting, it talked about a work session tomorrow, and then it went in and talked about some things with the library. We accomplished another year of COVID with many of our staff working from offices in their home, and those that needed to be out working in the field did what they needed to do to fulfill taking care of our community. This was all done with extra care, precautions around COVID. As we navigated, we also had to navigate 6 months of furloughing to be able to close the gap on our budget. And I'll tell you, you lose one day, but your workload stays the same and you can't work overtime. We really need to thank our staff for stepping up and doing the things that we've done. We've closed that gap and we were able to bring the budget into line so that we are not in a deficit in our budget. You can't do that, but we have to look at our employees and thank them. Again, I thank, again, from my heart, every employee from the management team all the way through everyone in the city for that extra effort that gave us an ability to stay current financially. Well, that is 2021. That was a lot that was accomplished. And we did that primarily from home. I think I went into the office 5 times in 2021. And my wife says, Scott, your piles are getting pretty large in your den. So the 5 times I went in, I had to take my piles and I had to do some filing. Well, let's take a look at the vision for 2020, and our fiscal year goes into 2023. Well, 2022 will bring the implementation of the American Rescue Act monies. We received $7.7 million, and we have defined primarily where that's going to go, but those projects need to be implemented, assigned, and completed. And so that's going to be a big lift for us. But it's going to enhance our city. It's going to enhance some of our capabilities. It's going to enhance our assets. It's going to make us a better place because we've got money to accomplish things that we couldn't do before. We anticipate the continual high engagement of our volunteer committees. We see numerous projects continuing to be developed and implemented within the city, and that cannot be done completely with the council and with staff. One major project that we will be moving forward this year is the 3rd Street Visioning Project, where we're going to look at street flow, we're going to look at parking, sidewalk enhancements, and the tree canopy that sets our downtown apart from any other city in Oregon. The Budget Committee continues to look at revenue enhancement, core service enhancements, and the effective use of our assets. We are looking for ways to create and attract economic development within our community, providing enhanced, diverse, and a growing base for family wage businesses to be here in McMinnville. This year, we'll bring back the Oregon International Air Show with its various, and that's a good thing. Last year, we did a drive-in. We hope this year we're going to have the full-blown air show because that is spectacular to be a part of. But it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort on the part of the city. With our other various partners, we will be focusing on returning tourism in a bigger, better way to McMindo this coming year. We want to make our city a destination location for those that want to visit wineries, food, and beverage. You know, we say, stop in McMinnville on your way to the coast. We say, stop in McMinnville on your way to nature trips. We say, stop in McMinnville as you travel west. And we want to make McMinnville a destination place as we're one of the best destination locations in the state of Oregon. And I really mean that. And we've got partners here that would agree with me. We have done all the analysis associated with the proposed fire redistricting, and now we are prepared to move forward with this needed project. There will be a lot of heavy lifting as we tell the story to the community of the benefits associated with redistricting, and many of us will be a part of that. Now with the UGB, we need to prepare for the future, updating planned developments both in the residential, commercial, manufacturing, and industrial areas. Much analysis is still needed, but we are well on our way, and we anticipate success in this arena that's going to grow carefully and planned growth within the city of McMinnville. We've been known for that type of approach for many, many years, and we will continue that in 2022. We continue to address the disparity in our revenue and our expenses. Revenue continues to grow at about a 3% level, while expenses grow at 6%. And that has a differential of well over $1 million. And we need to address that. We cannot live off of ending cash balances to sustain the city. It has to be sustainable, and that comes from new revenue coming into our communities. And so we'll continue to work hard with that. Matter of fact, tomorrow evening, we're going to have our city services fee and the analysis that goes with that. And so 6 o'clock on Zoom, come and be a part of that discussion and hear the dialogue that the council is going to be having tomorrow. You know, as always, our number one focus is customer service. It's delivery of exceptional service to our community. COVID and budget constraints have had an impact on delivering on that goal and that focus. We are committed in 2022 and 2023 to bring back that high level that is a legacy in our community, a critical element that you and I have become accustomed to. I and the city council and staff are so excited about the opportunities we have in this coming year. And we have a full table of projects. We just mentioned a few of them. They've been identified, and they've come off of our goals and our strategic plan, and we will continue to do the things that we need to do. Okay, something new this year that we've not done is our partnerships. And as you know, partnerships are so critical in our community. And the work the city does could not be accomplished without partnerships, and both internal and external. And so tonight I would like to recognize a few of our partners who have done a Herculean job of helping us during another year of COVID. Our first community partner is Debbie Brackett, who is the superintendent of the McMinnville number 40 school district. Debbie comes to McMinnville with great experience, knowledge, and passion for the education of our children. Stepping into a superintendent's job is a hard task to do, but amid COVID is a heavy lift for anyone. And we recognize the efforts of Debbie and her staff and the teachers this past year. We're going to hear from Debbie if we can. She's on her way back to her conference, and she's about ready to get onto an airplane in a half an hour, but let's see if Debbie's available. Debbie, welcome.
I am. Thank you, Mayor Scott Hill. I appreciate you inviting me here tonight. And I just want to thank you on behalf of myself and the entire board of directors for your continued partnership with McMinnville School District to ensure that we not only provide our students with excellent academics and support during the school day, but you help us provide the same kind of support after the last bell rings. So we thank you for that. You did ask me to give one word.
Absolutely.
Oh. Okay, sorry. One word to describe our school district, and I would say supportive. Our teachers have learned how to support the students academically, socially, emotionally, and support the families. So I appreciate all they have done to get us through COVID, and I thank you again for recognizing us as an amazing partner with the city.
Thank you, Debbie, and safe flight and the conference that you're headed off to.
Thank you so much.
Well, our next community partner is MEDP, and we have, that is the McMindo Economic development partnership who assists the city in economic development. And I'd like to introduce Patty Herzog, who is the new director of MEDP, and welcome her. We truly recognize all of the fine work that MEDP has done over the years. Patty comes to us from Nevada, where she worked in the governor's office, and she had the responsibility of business development in rural locations in Nevada. A great resume, and someone who has come into our community and stepped right in and taken off where her predecessors, Jody Christensen and Scott Cooper, left off. And so, Patty, we welcome you.
Good evening, Mayor. Thank you so much for this opportunity to join you tonight. We very much value the partnership with the city, and we look forward to serving. As Debbie mentioned, you asked us to come up with a word and give some examples of why we selected that word. Tonight, I've chosen partnership as the word. This was selected based upon the African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Partnerships leverage the strength of each of our partners and apply it strategically to the issues at hand. It takes a little bit more work. It takes a little longer, but strong partnerships build relationships and shared understanding and a collective focus to make lasting progress. It's core to MEDP's service in the community and with the city. Successful partnerships don't just happen. Community partners share aligned vision, and our shared mission is to advance the strategies that respond to the needs of McMinnville and support the creation of high-paying jobs and a diversified economy. We're accountable for results and measuring our success. We're agile. Successful partnerships are flexible and nimble and willing to change when things need to be changed. We're inclusive and recognize the strength and diversity that enables partnerships to leverage time, energy, money, and resources, building those relationships so that results are bigger than the sum of the parts. And finally, leadership. And this quote comes from Clark Anderson, the co-founder of and executive director of Community Builders in Colorado. And he says, great leaders raise the bar of their communities. They bring together others into the fold and create a culture of leadership. This is a good thing because leadership is to communities as chocolate chips are to cookies. The more, the better. So I'm very happy to be a part of all the leadership in Mcminnville and under your leadership as Mayor Scott Hill. Thank you.
Thank you, Patty, for those words and your partnershiping. Well, our last community partner this year is the Health and Human Services Director and Public Health Administrator for Yamhill County, Lindsey Manfran. And Lindsey, what a job Lindsey has done this year with her and her staff to provide the citizens of McMinnville and the county with direction and help and information during these difficult COVID times. I'll tell you, Lindsey's not one that is out and is seen in the forefront, but she's working quietly to support so many aspects of health and welfare at the county level where we get most of our services. And such a great partner, someone that has been connected with McMindville for many, many years. So Lindsey, welcome. Could you share a couple of thoughts?
Absolutely, and thank you so much for having me. On behalf of Public Health and all of our Health and Human Services team, I really appreciate the recognition, and I know that they do as well. Needless to say, this last couple of years have been challenging to say the least, and through all of it, we have so appreciated the partnership and collaboration and support of the city. We have done so much great work together, and we are so appreciative of the support that you've offered our teams and the projects that we've been able to do to support the community through COVID, but also a lot of the other partnerships that we have related to housing and many of the other things that I know are important to our community members. If I were to pick one word to describe Health and Human Services over the last year, I'd have to pick dedicated. And with that dedication, I think we, again, have just so appreciated the kindness and support that the people, the city and the people in McMinnville have provided to us. So thank you.
Thank you, Lindsey. And I'll tell you one thing that Lindsey's made herself available. We have a weekly call with the mayors and council people. It's called the Yamhill Leadership Council, and Commissioner Kula helps us do that. Lindsey has been a part of that to keep us abreast of what's happening with COVID, because it is a real concern. And typically cities don't have a lot of information on that. We have to turn to our county partners. So Lindsey, thank you for the transparency and the informational that you provide to the cities in our county. Well, we are now to the awards, and that's where I really enjoy. I enjoy this community. You know, when we say that we have 1,100 volunteers, and each and every one of them are important. But we take an opportunity on an annual basis to recognize volunteerism. And the first set of awards that we do, we call the Pillar Award. And that are the individuals that are keeping the structure strong and holding us up today and yesterday. And so they bring so much of expertises and passion, and they truly enhance the livability of our community over the years. And this is the 5th opportunity we've had to do this, and we've recognized some great people. And again, this is kind of one of the things that, you know, your time has come, and because of some of the things that you've done. Our first award winner this evening is John Dietz, who is the general manager of McMinnville Water and Light. Now, John brought with him you guys didn't see that, but we do have a few here, and so we did give applause. John has brought with him more than 25 years of expertise in the utility industry when he joined McMinnville Water and Light as engineering and operations manager in 2008. Before coming to McMinnville, he lived in Longview, Washington with his wife and daughter, where he spent 20 years at Cowlitz PUD, serving as the electrical engineer and then the director of engineering. After spending 8 years as the engineering and operation manager at Mac Water and Light, John was promoted to the position of general manager in 2017. He currently does that job so very well, but he's branched out. And when you see the things that he involves himself in, you're going to go, wow. Because again, it's an organization that's tied to the city. It's under the city charter, but they have their own commission, and they do things kind of on with their own direction that's totally focused on electric and water. But let me tell you some of the things that John is doing. He currently sits on the board and committees focused to community development and utility interests, including the Public Power Council, McMindo Economic Development Partnership, MEDP, and we just heard from Patty. Well, John is the chair of that committee, and during this long look for a new director, John was doing a lot more of the day-to-day with Heather there. He also is a part of the Oregon Municipal Electric Utilities Association and the McMinnville Urban Renewal Advisory Committee. John is a licensed electrical engineer and holds a bachelor's of science in electrical engineering from Washington State University. He's a man of vision, knowledge, experience, and he has the ability to implement. It has been my pleasure to work with John for over 5+ years. And so let's hear what others have to say about John.
John and I have worked together for the entire 11 years that I've been at Water and Light. When I started, he was the engineering and operations manager, and they hired me as the administrative assistant for the engineering department. One nice thing about working with John is that we have a very open style of communication, which in my opinion is a great way to have a really open and productive work environment.
I have the unique opportunity as mayor to sit ex officio on the McMinnville Water and Light Board. And an individual there, John Dietz, who's the general manager, I have learned to work very well with John.
His ability, skills and abilities continue to grow. The commission was excited to select John as general manager when Kim Carr retired, and we have been quite pleased with our choice.
One positive thing that I think came out of the pandemic was that it's pushed us out of our box. It's, shown us all that we can accomplish things that we never thought were possible. John showed, open-mindedness, flexibility, willingness to consider things that we never thought we could do. And through that, we were able to prove that we could still serve our customers, have extremely reliable service, and do things kind of an unconventional way for us.
He has grown tremendously in this new role, and I think some of the attributes I are so impressed with John is his vision of looking at where we need to be in the future.
He has a vision that I think is really going to benefit future generations of people in McMinnville.
John has truly been recognized as a leader in those areas.
I think focus would be the word, but I mean focused on the details of what he's doing now. Sort of how do we accomplish this goal, and how do we make what we're doing now work for our community for many years.
The one word I have to describe John is determined. Once we set a goal, either for the department or the organization as a whole, he's very determined, and he will do, whatever it takes to accomplish those goals.
We thank those that have given some input to give us some insights into who and what John Dietz is all about. So John, I'll have you come over this side. And here is your 2021 Pillar Award from the city of McMinnville. That mic is live, and so if you could just share a few thoughts with us.
Sure. Thank you, Mayor Hill. I was surprised when you told me that I was going to get this award. Water and Light to me is a great organization, and I'm very passionate about that organization because we provide service to the community, and we try to do that in a dependable, reliable, but also the lowest possible cost for our customers. And we could not provide that service, and I could not get this award without the staff. We have, I think, one of the best staffs, one of the best teams anywhere in a utility because they are dedicated, they work hard. I mean, we had a water main break last week. Everybody's probably seen that. On top of that, we had electrical, we had a car pole accident at the same time, and we had transformer outage at that same location. So our crews were there, and they were there all night and into the next day, and they just did a fantastic job. And it takes all of us as a team to do this, and I'm very proud of our team. So thank you very much, Mayor.
I have a challenge coin for you.
Okay, thank you.
Congratulations, and it's just been a pleasure to work side by side. Thank you, John. Well, our next award recipient this evening is Jeff Knapp, the Executive Director of Visit McMinnville. Jeff has had a long history of service, hospitality, and bringing people together under the common banner of opportunities and possibilities. He managed the esteemed Blue Hour restaurant in Portland. He's the Director of Consumer Relations at the historic Sokolblosser Winery, and now is the Executive Director of Visit McMinnville. He likewise has gone out of his comfort area a bit. He serves on so many committees within the community. He sits on the McMinnville Urban Renewal Advisory Committee, known as MURAC. He sits on the McMinnville Economic Vitality Committee. He is a part of what we call the Stable Table and has participated in many other think tanks, boards and committees in McMinnville, Yamhill County, and statewide related to the visitor economy, economic development, and the wine industry. He was a part of the founding team of TEDx McMinnville, and under Jeff's direction, he was critical to getting that up and going. You know, Under Jeff's direction, also Visit McMinnville won the Best Overall Tourism Marketing Program Award from Travel Oregon in 2019. And that's great recognition. Jeff is a recognized leader in Oregon's tourism industry and is looked to as a creative innovator of people, champion communities, and embracing the humans that are a part of that. Having worked with Jeff since his role with Visit McMinnville, I see the impact that he has had on our community and how fortunate we are to have him as a leader of this caliber in our community. You know, I've seen, he came with a lot of experience, but I'll tell you, I've seen tremendous growth and recognizing dreams that we could have only dreamt years ago. And he's brought that to fruition. So let's hear what others have to say about Jeff.
We were hiring for the position of executive director at Visit McMinnville. I thought, wow, if this guy really does apply for this position, how lucky would our community be to get him? And McMinnville is so lucky to have Jeff.
When I think of Jeff Knapp, I think of the process that we have gone through to build Visit McMinnville into one of the most strongest and respected DMO in the state of Oregon.
One of the things I appreciate most about Jeff is that he brings the community along with him. He's got great ideas, he's a visionary, but he wants to make sure that everybody knows their place within those ideas and comes along for the ride and feels like they're an important part of making our community the best it can possibly be for everyone involved.
He's an incredibly hard worker, and he's one of those rare people who has the ability to look at situations from above and to see all the complexity and all of the moving parts, and to be able to really adeptly connect people to solve problems within that framework, and to be able to do that on behalf of an entire city, and to be able to do that with really beautiful intentions at your core, that's a really special thing.
Interactions with Jeff are always fun. He's a great listener, he's a great conversationalist, and he works together with the people around him to come to conclusions that are going to be beneficial to everybody.
He surrounds himself with good people. He is able to bring the very best out in discussion, and he listens very carefully. And so on top of all of that, we've been able to learn valuable lessons from Jeff, but also develop a structure that brings people to our community and spends their dollars here.
Collaborative. Jeff is endlessly collaborative. He's so good at building relationships, building networks, and making things happen on behalf of our community through collaboration.
Gregarious. He is the same Jeff no matter if he's in a business meeting or sitting on the back porch drinking beers. He's always got a joke and a smile for everybody, and he really wants to make sure that everybody is included in the success of what McMinnville can be.
Mr. Jeff Knapp, come on down. I'd like to recognize you with that award, and speak into the mic there if you would.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you. That's overwhelming, and thank you. It means a lot. So I'll keep it short, but I'm going to start 20 years ago. 20 years ago, I was in Wichita, Kansas, on the floor of my apartment with my wife, making a list of what we needed for our future. And as a 25-year-old, there were some things not so important, one of which was I could be a respected person in business and still have facial hair. 2, I wouldn't have to wear a tie and still be respected in business. And 3, much more important, that we would have a real community that we could participate in and give our time and energy to and help support. And today I feel like I've arrived in that sense. We have a very special sacred thing here in McMinnville, and it is an honor to be able to do the work that I do, and we do as an organization. And I want to honor the city and all of the work for the mayor, city council, our board, our community leaders to have the vision to stand up a destination marketing organization and to empower us with the trust and the resources to move the city's missions forward. I think we live in a time where we need as much collaboration and partnerships as possible, and I take that very, very seriously. And to that extent, I want to turn some compliments back towards the city for being at the table with very thoughtful, collaborative processes in our communities, setting plans, and then gathering people around, both with staff, volunteers, and to solve these large things that we have to solve and to celebrate the opportunities that we've got. So thank you. I want to thank, there's so many people to thank. I feel like this is my time on the Oscars or something. Thank you to everyone. Aaron Stevenson, thank you so much. You've given so much time as the board chair and helping me onboard into a leadership role in this community. Thank you to everyone else who's allowed me to do that. I have the best staff and team in the world. Kitchener McGuire is a rock star. Jamie Korf, rock star. And I think of us as a greater team. So when I think of our team, I also think of the Stable Table, all of the economic development partners at MEDP, the Chamber, the Downtown Association, moving the city's plan forward, and most importantly, you. Cities, thank you.
Thank you. These are heartwarming opportunities to recognize people that selflessly give of themselves, both John and Jeff. Well, we'd like to recognize our third recipient this evening and a close friend, Remy Drabkin, who is our council president. Council President Drabkin was elected by the council to serve as the president in January of 2021. So we're into this just a couple of months, but we're into this a year and a couple of months, and we're having so very much fun. You know, in the absence of the mayor, the council president presides over the council deliberations, preserves order, enforces the rules of the council, and determines the order and business under the rules of the council. But she does that as a counselor, and she's able to vote, something I'm not able to do. Remy Drabkin is really a homegrown gal. She really is. She was born and raised in McMinnville, but she's also studied in Pittsburgh, Israel, and France. She is a graduate of both McMinnville High School and Linville College, now known as Linfield University. Majoring in history and minoring in world religions. I think one of the greatest attributes is Remy is a true entrepreneur. And so when we talk about economic development and growing business, watch this gal do her thing. She's just amazing. And she's being recognized for that. She started her own local winery business in 2006. But she's been working in the industry since 1995. I think you were 2 or 3 years old then. Remy served on the McMinnville Planning Commission for 4 years before being elected to the city council. She spends her free time enjoying life with her family. Remy is a passionate individual about community and not only talks the talk of McMinnville, she is a doer. It is hard to keep up with her vision and energy. And so let's hear what others have to say about our dear council president, Remy Drabkin.
But she'll say, I'm doing such and such, would you like to come with me? And she gets a wonderful group of people together to help solve problems. And always has, even when she was little.
She's actually one of the reasons I decided to come here, because I was so struck that there was a young professional woman on city council. We don't normally see that.
Remy Drabkin just brings a smile to one's face. She is so loving, so caring.
She has always been challenging in the sense of her quickness and her intelligence and not accepting the status quo.
Remy's leadership style has really grown. I mean, she is now in the role of council president for the last year or so. And while Remy was a strong member of the council who never had any problem sort of using her own voice, she has much more become, I think, a voice of the body.
She works very hard, and she applies her intelligence to problems, and she's very nimble as well in her thinking. So if one solution doesn't work, she's able to come up with another solution.
I see other counselors looking to her for leadership and for guidance, and I think that's really impressive to see how she's grown in the role in the last few years.
Remy stepped up during the pandemic for both the city as an organization and the community, and I think it comes from what drives her. And what drives her, from my opinion, is her compassion for the community and her love for the community and the people in the community.
She has areas that she is so passionate about, and she has brought that expertise, that knowledge and passion to the table.
Gutsy. She's very gutsy. She will take on challenges that nobody else would even try to do. She is very compassionate as well as the other word I wanted to use. But that combination of gutsy and compassionate is really a forceful unit.
Passionate. Remy cares deeply about the community. It appears to me that all of her decisions are really driven by what's best for this eclectic group of people in this interesting and diverse community that we have. And the passion that she has for her work, for her job, for her community, for her friends and family really comes through in everything that she does.
What comes to mind immediately for Remy is badass. And the reason I say that, and I say that in the best way, is that she just gives 110% to everything she does, and she gets it done. To me, that's just remarkable.
Mr. Mayor. Thank you very much.
Here's your little mic.
Thank you very much. I would say I'm speechless, but no one would believe me. But I am struck, and I'm glad it didn't end up being a roast. That would have been brutal. I am very dedicated to the community of McMinnville, and I think that's because the community of McMinnville has raised me, and McMinnville produces incredible community leaders who are all passionate, and I think we see that throughout. I think the mayor underlined that repeatedly when he talked about the volunteerism that we see through our community, and I feel really lucky and blessed that I can bring my skill set to our community and try to make it better through creative problem solving and communal work, and my true desire to bring us forward and always have good governance and move us forward together. And I am very grateful, and thank you for honoring me. I'm very touched, and thank you for all of this, and thank you for being hard workers that we sometimes get recognition for when it's really so very many other people. This has been an incredible time to be in public service, and I look forward to many, many, many decades of public service ahead of me, as long as you'll all keep electing me. So thank you.
There we go. Thanks. Well, this takes us to our point in the program where we are looking at our Legacy Award. And this is a different award. This is an award that is presented to an individual who's given a lifetime of service, energy in the focus of our community and its betterment. We might say that this award recognizes those who have become a part of the fabric of our community. This year's award winner is our former mayor of McMinnville, Rick Olson. Now, Rick, has a lifetime of community service, is a part of his story. He's been an intricate part of the city of McMinnville and the Yamhill County for 62 years. He was born in Portland and he moved with his family to McMinnville when he was 5 years old. And it's been said that he says, when I moved to McMinnville, there were 8,700 residents and we had one flashing yellow light at 3rd and Baker. Okay, think about that today. That was a long time ago. Rick attended St. James Catholic School and graduated from McMinnville High School. He joined the Navy during the Vietnam War. He was in the Naval Aviation Branch. When he returned home, he dedicated himself to a life of service and leadership, including many years on the volunteer fire department. He worked at Oregon Mutual for 32 years and spent 2 years at Head Start in Yamhill County. In addition to his full-time job, he served on many and numerous McMindo communities, such as the Planning Commission and the Budget Committee. He served for a time on the Airport Commission and was the ex-officio chair of McMinnville's own public utility, McMinnville Water and Light. He served many years on the city council and served as council president for 4 years. 2 consecutive years, he served as president of the Chamber of Commerce and 8 years as mayor of McMinnville. He had, for 4 years, served as our county commissioner also. Today, he serves on the Newburgh-Dundee Bypass Committee, is a board member of the McMinnville-Willamette Area Commission on Transportation. He has worked on all levels within McMinnville and our region to improve and maintain transportation infrastructure and feels it's critical for our economic development and the livability of McMinnville and our county. When asked about what inspires Rick, he would say, government can move very slowly. So I think nothing is more satisfying than when plans, ideas, or projects come to fruition. Seeing it happen on the street, seeing something finished our citizens have wanted or needed to become reality, that is satisfying. Well, something you may not know about Rick, some of us do, but some do not, is Rick has a passion as a collector of PIS dispensers. And you remember those as kids, maybe. He's been collecting since he was 10 years old, and he has one of the largest collections with over 5,000 dispensers. And he's got some very unique ones that are made out of cast dies, really interesting. If you're on any Zoom meeting and he's out in the office, you see the back, it's not pictures, but it's PIS dispensers, like going into Las Vegas, into an M&M store or into the Coke store. He's got retail displays on the wall. Well, I'll tell you, Rick is so proud of his family, his children and his grandchildren. But I'll tell you, the thing that I know about Rick is he's a family man and he surely loves his wife, Candy. Candy has shown such devotion to this city, standing at his side every bit of the way. Rick is a great mentor. He's mentored me for many years. I'll tell you, when you get the Olsons, you get 2 for 1. You get Rick and you get Candy. So let's hear what others have to say about Rick.
He's dedicated to the people, whether it be city, county, state. He is dedicated. He wants to make sure whatever's done is done for the people, whether he likes the policy that is going on, but he wants to make sure it's the right thing for the public.
And I always know that if I have anything that I need, I can call on him and he'll help me make it happen.
Rick is one of those people that everybody feels like they know everything about. Like everybody feels a connection to him. And maybe that's the thing, is that everybody really feels like they know him very well, and everybody probably knows just a piece of him.
Rick Olson, our former mayor, our former county commissioner, is someone that has given tremendous time, effort, and expertise to our community. Rick, you may or may not know, but has spent close to 36 years in governmental and community involvement.
We met on Friendship Network, which is a thing in the newspaper back 100 years ago. And so we talked on the phone for about a week. He came to Salem, we went to dinner, and from then on it's been love. We've been married almost 25 years. And he was already on the city council back then, and he'd already done stuff way before then. And so I just knew that that was part of his life. It was going to be.
I think back on my relationship with Rick as one of an incredible opportunity to do something who has a heart as big as all outside and all outdoors, and who's really got an ambition to make a difference in people's lives.
And I think the first time that I actually met him was when he, let's see, it's the Grain Station Brew Works, I think now. Maybe it was something else, maybe it was the same. But he walked into it on election night when he had just been elected commissioner, and he had like the papers in his hand, and he was like this, he was like, ah! And that was my first introduction to Rick.
Under his leadership, he's been a part of so many of the innovative and the good things that we find in McMinnville today.
Yeah. People have always been his first love.
He was just a leader at the Area Commission on Transportation on building a consensus throughout Polk, Marion, and Yamhill County to move the bypass forward. And it takes people like that to convince others that this is what we're all trying to do. It takes a concerted effort by a large group. It's a special thing.
He and I have been commissioner together, and when he was commissioner, the thing that I was always amazed by is I would tell people, I was like, our county has a lot of different people, and with the 3 commissioners that we have, we really represent everybody, which is a rare thing to feel like you can say that about somebody. And he really like filled the gap because he was so accommodating and listened to everybody. It was amazing.
We all should be very grateful to his leadership and his tenacity and his persistence. Like Rick doesn't know when to quit. Give him a bone and he'll chew it until it really tastes great.
The only word that comes to mind is servant. When I met him, he was at the tail end of a very long career of public service where he was always doing something to help the community in a role where he had to be on, you know?
Dedicated. He's dedicated to the people, or dedicated to his job, period. Even though he's tired, you know, he's almost 70. He's tired, but he just keeps on going until the job is done. So that's just kind of the way Rick is, dedicated.
My back. Because when I'm working on a project and there are complications and it's difficult, I don't ever have to worry about the fact that he will be there to protect it as it goes forward. No matter what, he's there for me. He's going to be there for his other friends, and he doesn't let you down. He's got my back.
Mr. Olson, come up. This is heavy.
Oh, thank you, Scott, can you take it?
I'll take it over to you.
Yeah, well, that's probably best. Yeah.
And there's the mic.
Okay.
You know, I'd really like to thank everybody. Scott said something that really has always hit home for me when he talked about the ability to work with people. I've always looked at it this way, and I've gone for years and years with what I consider, and I'm not the first one that said this, about the philosophy of the 3 Ps. There's people, there's process, and there's policy. And if you have good people involved, and there's no doubt that the city of McMinnville has the best staff, and with all the partners, they involve the best people to get something done, They're attentive to the citizens' needs. They listen to the citizen, and that's what I enjoyed the most about being the mayor and on the city council. The second thing is policy. It's great to have good people, but if they don't come up with good policy or communicate transparently that policy out among the citizenship, the citizens don't know, even though you're doing great things, the citizen doesn't know what you're doing. So the process and how you implement something, and I think in McMinnville, we've always been to the point, like Scott said, where we started with something, and my greatest satisfaction was seeing it through to fruition. So it's not something this council or the city ever talks a lot about. They just get in and they do it. And then the third thing is policy. You could have great people doing a great job and great input from your citizenry. You could have the best processes in place, but if you don't come up with a good policy, the first two don't make any difference. So my philosophy has always been that if you have good people, you follow a good process, and you come up with a good policy, whether people think you're right or wrong really doesn't make any difference, because I've had a lot of disagreements with people, but they will respect you and respect what like city government does because they know they went through the process. And I look back over my years and I'm thinking, gee whiz, that was a long time when Scott read it out. I say, I hate to admit I'm almost that old, but I look at people that I've known that when they were kids that are now involved with some organization or volunteer. Matter of fact, Remy, I'll never forget the time that trying to convince her to actually put in for appointment to the planning commission was kind of difficult, but there she is, and now she's council president. I am so proud of you, Remy. You know, you do such a good job. People like Adam Garvin, who's on the city council, who I used to know when he was this big, to think about. He'd always ask me these questions, and I said, you know, he's going to be a leader someday, and he is. So other than that, I don't have a lot more to say, Scott. You know, I'm such a silent person.
Well, this has been an eventful evening tonight, recognizing great award winners, those that make up the fabric of our community, our partnerships. And as you can tell, we've had a great 2021. We have all the expectation of 2022 taking us to a higher level. And so before we conclude, I just again thank the staff that has put this on. I think it's gone flawlessly, and I hope I know it's not as exciting as being here with us with all the stuff that we have going on here at the Bindery, but at least you're home and you're maybe some of you are already very casual. So again, thank you for your participation tonight. Have a great week, and thank you for everything being a part of McMinnville.